Warning. This podcast is solely based on smut books. The definition of smut is a story that includes one or more sexually explicit scenes. This is a warning for all listeners to proceed with caution. There will be explicit content, sex talk, and triggering subjects. We will provide a trigger warning before each episode. This podcast is not intended for all audiences. Listener discretion is advised. Hey, Smut Sluts. We're your hosts. I'm Tisha.
And I'm Corey. And welcome back to our podcast. And MK kissed Cody as she realized that he truthfully did care and that he was amazing. And he's like, I thought you'd never notice. So cute.
Okay, so they call an Uber, and when they get home, no one's there. So she showers, and Archer stomps into the room as MK's getting out. She's butt-ass naked, like about to grab her towel, and he just pauses, and it's just like...
glaze. Boobs. Total dude move right there.
Boobs. Yep. And he is just like eating her up with his eyeballs. And so he gives her knife, and she's like, see something you like, big man? And he's like, I don't do sloppy seconds, MK, or thirds for that matter. She's like, what the fuck ever, where's Steele? And he says that he's out cleaning up her mess, and she tells him that she must have forgotten ordering a man to attack her in a bathroom. She's still naked the whole time they're talking.
Yep.
And he asks her if she's okay, and she says, yeah, I'm fine, and asks him if him and Steele are okay. He has blood on him, but his eyes turn heated. Yeah, sunshine, you're not interested in sloppy seconds at all, because he's just like drooling over her right now. Right. And I love that she just like stands her ground, even though she's butt-ass naked. She's like, okay, like, you're the one that busted in here, so I'm staying naked.
Can I have some of her confidence, please?
Right. So, he stomps out of the bathroom and slams the bedroom door, and she knew she was getting to him, so she gets dressed and starts to study for her exams. She studies until well into the evening and realizes she hasn't even seen Steele since he left the diner, so she starts to worry. She goes to check his room, and there's no answer, so she walks in. She's like, fuck it, I'm going in.
Yep.
And he's already sleeping, but he has bandages on his shoulder, and she's like, what the fuck happened? So she runs downstairs to confront Arch and Cody, and of course they're in these tiny little shorts training, and she's just like, putting that in my spank bank.
Droll.
She asks him what the fuck happened to Steele, and Archer just ignores her while he takes Cody down, and she's like, someone answer my fucking question. And Archer's like, he's fine, he just needed some painkillers and they always knock him out. And Cody just says that he got some gravel rash and he'll be fine. She's pissed off that they gave him alcohol on top of painkillers, and he's like, we would never do anything to put him in danger. But they found the guy with the knife, but they weren't alive long enough to give them any information. It was just, they were shitty hitmen, basically. So he goes back into the gym to work out and yells for Cody, but Cody is kind of hesitant to leave her. But she's like, no, you're right. What happened to Steele was all my fault. And Cody's like, it's not your fault. I will go upstairs with you to comfort you. She's like, nope, I'm going to go lay down with Steele. So she goes upstairs and she climbs into bed because she doesn't want to wake him up. And he's like whispering in his sleep. He's like, Hellcat, don't leave me. And I'm like, oh. So she holds his hand and tells him that she's right there and that she's sorry. And he falls asleep right next to her. She falls asleep right next to him, too.
Yep. So during the night, MK's nightmares were starting to come to light. So she got up and went to the gym, which has been her normal routine lately, in her t-shirt and panties, getting on the treadmill. And all of a sudden, a hand slaps on the treadmill, and it's Cody, asking what he was doing away, and he said the same thing, to come to find her. And that her workout in the middle of the night was starting to offend him because he's a personal trainer and he wants to train her. Duh. Why wouldn't you? And she's like, I don't give a shit about training. She just does it to clear her mind and keep the cookies off her ass, and that the trainers could be a bit mean. So they discussed a little bit like of the steroid stunt. I almost said the cocaine stunt. And just kind of like how it wouldn't have just fucked Archer over, it would have fucked Cody over. And Cody said that it's okay, but her and Archer are more same than they realize.
Yeah.
So Cody told MK that she was training her with no fight, like they were just doing it. And maybe if you knew how to fight and defend yourself, that her nightmares wouldn't be so scary. So they start training, and she was like, go easy on me. I only like the domineering bullshit in the bedroom, both naked, and the only blood being from scratches down her back, one of them. And he said, that could be arranged. So he's going to teach her the basic skills, and then he'll fuck her hard enough to wake up the whole damn house. Clear? Ugh. She agreed. So as they're training, she got to move down. And Cody told her that she needed to get this down soon because her tiny panties were driving him insane, and that if he didn't rip them off her soon, he would actually die.
Literally die. And
so he's like, you're being dramatic, whatever. Let's see. And Cody admitted that it was just mean and that he was blinded by outrage as Steele was moping about MK, talking about him thinking that he was fucking another girl.
Yeah.
And that Cody wanted to break his nose for it. And MK went to Cody and looped her arms around him, saying that was all sorts of sweet, that he was trying to defend her, but he shouldn't be trying to get Steele to fuck it up so he could have her. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay, I was like, my brain just went loop. Cody said that he would be happy to fuck Steele up if he ever hurt her, but that he doesn't need to fuck him up for her to pay attention to him. That he believes people are capable of having feelings for more than one person, and that he's not insecure because he just wants her. And as they're having this conversation, Archer walks in.
And he's got a boner up in her ass and everything. Like...
And Cody was like, why are you up so early? And he's like, I couldn't sleep. So Cody explained that they were training the basic self-defense moves. And Archer says, fuck no, she needs it. And MK came back to say she was right there because they're having a conversation about her. Archer said, too bad your pants aren't there unless Cody is going to show you how grappling moves without them. MK said, you would know all about that, huh, big man? And Archer sounds like something you've been fantasizing about. Worried I would upstage you? MK goes on to laugh, saying, I hate to tell you, Sunshine, that this is a pantless party and that you won't be invited to one, not even if hell froze over. Cody called it off, told Archer to go warm up, and Cody kept training her for a minute until she finally got the move because she was now pissed off. Mm-hmm. Archer made a sarcastic laugh and asked if MK asked if he had something to say. And Archer said, if you wanted to get her pissed off, you should have just told her it was you who took all away her freedoms, not her shitty excuse of a father. Yep, bomb drop, and walked into a different part of the gym, stating that the mental institute was all on her father and that he would love to have her committed. She turned to Cody and asked if it was true, seeing the panic in his eyes, and grabbed her before she could walk away.
Yeah.
She was furious with Cody, but he told her to please just let him explain. All she said was no, she's done, and fucking left.
Yep.
Yeah.
So as MK's walking away, she can hear Cody screaming at Archer, and then she hears a fist hitting flesh. And you hear Archer say that he deserved that, and Cody tells him that he needs to sort his shit with MK before Corey. Hi. Cody and Steele murder him. So Cody comes out looking for MK and tells her to stop pulling away from him. He says Arch loves setting her off and he has succeeded. She wants to know if what he said is true, and Cody says yes. He didn't know Samuel was going to threaten her like that, but he did it just to keep her safe. Mm-hmm. And Cody promises that he would never let her father go through with the shit that he threatened. Cody says, if it keeps you breathing, I do it again. She says that she hates him, and he tells her that she doesn't hate him, and Cody pulls her into him and kisses her. She kisses back and then realizes what the fuck she's doing, so she pulls away. She tells him, no, you threw away your chances with me when you went behind my back with my father. And he tells her not to forgive him, then make them spend the rest of their lives repaying her. And she's turned on by how hot he looks right now. Mm-hmm. And he says that there's been 4 new deliveries from the stalker that Archer hasn't told her about. So she backs herself into a corner and kind of in shock, and he crowds her personal space and tells her that she can't ignore the chemistry they have. She knows that he's right, and he says, fuck me now to get it out of your system and plot your revenge tomorrow. I'm like, oh, okay.
Right? There we go.
So she plants her hands on his chest to shove him back, but when she feels his chest, she just like loses it. Mm-hmm. And so she kisses him, and she's still angry, but she took it out on him like in a sexual way. And I'm like, yes, girl.
Oh, please, bitch.
She really wanted to give him hate sex. So things got really hot and heavy, and they end up fucking on the kitchen island, which, holy fucking shitballs. This scene
was so hot. Like, can somebody fuck me on the kitchen counter like this? Because god damn.
So as he puts her on the kitchen island and tells her to lay down, and as she is laying down on the countertop, she tilts her head back as she's arching her back, and she notices a shadow in the corner, and she immediately is like, fuck, my stalker's in here. But then she realizes it's Archer. Mm-hmm. And he is just transfixed. She is expecting him to start yelling or screaming at her, but he's just boom. And so Cody tells him to fuck off, but this whole time they're not stopping.
No.
They're fucking still.
Yep.
And Archer looks pissed off, so he grabs his protein powder with his eye still on MK, and she kind of likes Archer watching, and I'm like, are you, what is it, an exhibitionist?
Yes.
Or is it the voyeurism?
No, voyeurism is liking to watch.
Okay. Yeah. So she's an exhibitionist.
Yep.
Spell that word.
No thanks.
So he's keeping she keeps eye contact with Archer while Cody continues to fuck her, and he stalks out of the kitchen back to the gym, and MK laughs, and they both come with MK screaming, and she's totally doing it on purpose to just piss Archer off, which I fucking love.
Oh yeah.
He's like, you still angry at me, babe? And she says, furious. And so Cody smiles and tells her good, and MK feels like he's up to something, so he puts her over his shoulder and tells her he wants to make her come more when she's still angry. So he carries her upstairs to his room and throws her on the bed and eats her out.
Yep.
Her attention was on Cody now, and not the ice blue eyes staring through the shadows. Mm-hmm. Oh, that scene.
So they get up the next morning because she has exams, so she's trying to get up, and she rips Cody's blanket off of him in the cold because he was trying to keep her there, and she's like, fuck off, I gotta get up,
got shit to do. So
she goes to get in the shower, and as she's in the shower, Cody joins her, telling her that her shower looked warmer.
Okay.
And she told him that if he thinks that they're going to fuck, because he's wrong, because education before dick, come on. Cody let her in on the fact that it's a snow day and exams were postponed, so they fuck in the shower.
Of course.
So she told him not to forget to condition after using her shampoo. She gets out and gets dressed. She heard the shower door open. Leaning on the door frame, Cody stared at his pink hair, shrugged, and grinned.
He's like, it's like we're a real couple now.
Yep. And MK said they were not a couple, and he said, call it whatever you want, as long as he can keep doing that on his way out. He told her to stop worrying. Still's fine. So MK went to look for Still because he wasn't in his room. Walking to the kitchen, she saw one of the maids, and she pointed her to the garage. So Still was standing there next to Archer's black Raptor truck, and he was frowning at the truck because it had bullet holes in the body of it. Mm-hmm. And he hated riding off the cars. And MK asked why he was down there and not resting, and Still let her know how he got hurt, that Archer had taken a sharp turn and it threw him to the gravel at a very high speed.
Yes.
So pulling her into a hug and explained that he was down there, not in his room, because he couldn't handle hearing Cody give her screaming orgasms again if he was either going to punch him or asked to join.
I love it.
Me too. Steele explained that it was the longest any girl had made him wait to get into their pants. I love it. Steele kissed MK and told her that it wasn't a new development. He asked if he was cut up, that they had fucked it, but instead answering, he took her to his room. And but he wanted her in his room. He stood right in front of MK and told her that they relocated to her room because it was cold, and so Archer couldn't interrupt ruining the mood. They got comfy in his bed, and he finally answered he did wish that Cody would have fucked shit up in the beginning to have her all to himself, but at the same point, he's not afraid of competition.
Yes, I love it.
Yep. He said that they don't share their toys very well unless they're sharing MK. Then he's all for it. Mm-hmm. They're all down. She asked how long it would take him to heal because she wants him. She tried to leave, but he made her stay. And there's other things they could be doing.
Yeah.
But MK said, nope, you can resist for the next week. Still said, you don't know how wound up he's going to be after hearing MK and Cody, begging her not to make him wait a week. So MK said that Cody can wait since it's not fair.
Does she even realize what she's doing to herself right now?
Nope, she's going to have a blue clit for sure this entire week.
For real.
And she was going to leave his room, but he asked her to stay. because he was falling asleep. So she sat in his desk chair, and he asked MK if she could play, which she admitted she can. So she played him a little bit and played him to sleep.
No.
Tender.
So sweet. So after he falls asleep, she continues to play for a while. After she's done playing, she goes to get coffee, and the cook Karen tells her that she left her breakfast, and James, the new groundskeeper, had brought in a package that was addressed to her. Archer was already in the kitchen, and he had a black eye from Cody punching him. She tells him, "Nice shiner." He says, "Nice tits." Because they're all sprawled out on the island the night before. And she's like, "You're really starting to reek of desperation and jealousy. If you want me so badly, maybe try a personality adjustment. Maybe then you'll stand a chance of getting what Cody got all morning and then again in the shower." And he's like, "You're just too eager for dick. You don't care where it comes from." She says, "I wouldn't touch your dick with someone else's pussy, let alone my own." I'm like, God damn. So he jumps up and hovers over her, but he's not touching her. He tells her that she's came onto him multiple times, and she said that he started it both times and blew her off both times. He lost his chance. So Archer kisses her, and she, of course, kisses him back and doesn't push him away, but then she snaps out of it and she shoves him away. And he asks how that denial is going for her. And she says, "Maybe all those steroids are making you delusional." And he tells her that she's denying that she's ruining her panties and thinking about all the things he could do to her on that counter. And as he says that, Cody clears his throat and looks highly amused. And so Cody points to the box, and he's like, "What is that?" And there's no postage marks on it, so it was hand delivered, which makes her a little weary of it. So Cody swipes the package off of her, or from her hands, and opens it. And Archer pushes MK out of the way so that she can't see it.
Right.
And Cody gives her a look like, "You don't want to see what's in here." And she's like, "Just show me." And so Archer moves out of the way, and it's a threat against Cody.
Yep.
So he has this swallow and a rose tattooed on his chest. So in the box, there's a dead swallow, which is a bird, in case nobody knows that. Tweet, motherfucker. And there's a rose in it too, just like his chest tattoo. So she grabs the box from him and carefully moves the bird out of the way because there's something underneath. There's a photograph of Cody and her on the fucking island. Yep. And there's a note on the back saying, "Liar, liar, pants on fire." And this is the second time the stalker has caught her having sex. And Archer is like, "How the fuck did this happen?" So he immediately looks at the camera from the security camera up in the corner of the kitchen, and he fucking gets pissed off. So he gets up there and rips it down and just smashes it to pieces. Yeah. And he's like, "Go get Steele right now." He gets on his phone. He's like, "We're doing a security overhaul," and he wants Cody and Steele to sweep the grounds for more cameras. And MK, I love this part because she fucking takes control. She's like, "No, Steele needs to sleep, and we need to handle this calmly." And she tells Archer to call his security team and Cody to call the cops to make a report. And she tells Archer to show her the other packages that he's been keeping from her so that she can catch up on what letters they've been sending. So she goes up to her father's office to do that.
Yep. So the cops come, the new security team comes, and as they're leaving, MK just looked at all the images that were sent. There was like her leaving school with each boy, and each picture had "liar" written on the back. All of the school cameras angled were pointed wrong or wiped clean, so they have no fucking clue. After the cops leave, Cody asked if they wanted pizza, and MK said she didn't really want delivery people there, so he went and got it. Steele was there in the armchair, and Archer came sitting closer to MK after learning the new security system. Steele offered to play video games, so they just start playing, and Jace is coming by the house tomorrow.
Ugh, Jace is a cunt.
Yeah. And that he will need to interfere, that Archer will need to interfere for him because he didn't want to hear what he had to say. He told him that he had to stay out of the sight because Jace is a fuck. And MK felt like her stalker was calling out all of the boys because they're lying to her. And she started to wonder what and why this would matter. Archer commented that MK got super quiet and asked if the stalker got her.
Fucking asshole. I know he's trying to like be lighthearted and stuff in this moment, but still, it's like, bro.
Yeah. What's up your ass? Oh, his balls. His balls are in his ass right now because he needs to blow a load.
For real, blue balls for days.
He's got like a sperm whale size sperm in there. Oh, anywho. MK says that she doesn't want to end up like her mom.
Yeah, she's just scared.
It's so sad. And they say that it won't happen.
Yeah.
And MK lets him in that Zane thinks that who tried to kill her on Halloween is different than her stalker. And Archer said, Zane doesn't know shit. He's just a piece of shit and is worse now than he was when he was with Deb.
Yeah.
MK asked Archer if he thought it was her stalker on Halloween, and he said that Zane was right. Her stalker has it's a sexual stalker. He's fantasizing about everything right now, and that he wouldn't kill her until he's fulfilled those fantasies. Ugh. And also still reminds her that she had mentioned that there was more than one person on Riot Night.
Yeah.
When she got stabbed. Yeah. No.
Halloween night.
Yeah, thank you. I keep doing that.
You're fine.
MK was questioning why anyone would want to kill her, and Archer asks if she would know anybody who would want her dead or benefit from her being dead.
Yeah.
And she let them know there wasn't much in her trust fund. Like, she told them exactly how much, but it wasn't worth killing her.
Yeah, not hiring somebody to kill her.
So Cody shows up with pizza. They just kind of have like a chill night. They started throwing out ideas of who they think it could be, like with Bree, and MK's like, it's not fucking Bree. What the fuck are you talking about? Kind of explaining why maybe it was that her dad was explaining Bree gave her intense gazes sometimes. Still offered the possibility of it being Dallas, but Dallas was 16 when her mom died, explaining how he fit the profile. But MK's not having that shit.
Yeah.
So they threw it out. Maybe it was Steinwick or Bark, and possibly being a copycat. And Bark gave me suspicious vibes, like the entire book. I remember like, okay, I'm going to make a guess now. Changed like 15 times through the book.
Bark gave me some too, but I honestly kind of thought it was Bree for a minute.
Really?
Yeah.
I never got that vibe from her.
I did. Like, she's just so pushy sometimes. Like, when they want to go out and stuff, I'm like, she knows that her life's in danger. Like, why is she being so pushy about this?
Because she wants to be with her best friend.
I know.
But it could have been it. It could be anybody.
It's so crazy. Yeah.
So they just started playing the games after. Still wins, of course. And Archer wants the best of 3. So they just relaxed, had a night to themselves and moved on.
She said that was like the first night that they actually felt like they were friends. Like, they were giggling and laughing. There was no tension, no fighting. Like, it was just good.
Yeah.
And she needed that.
Yeah. So the next day, MK studied all day.
I'm done, yeah.
Okay, I'll put him in the middle then.
My week has been a shit show, so I didn't get to finish my notes.
Okay. So Bree studied all day with the Zoom call, and then the following day, SU finally opened back up. So upon getting there, Professor Barker, which is Bark's dad, caught MK and let her know that she missed a lot of the lectures during the semester, and if she was up to taking the exams, letting her know if she was not able to do it, he would work with her. He gave me the creepiest fucking vibes, dude. So he let her know that she call him Roy, giving those vibes. And Cody finally gets out of the car and puts his arm around her, saying hello. And he got kind of weird, like,
Bark didn't even say anything to Cody or notice him or anything. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, no. So as they walked away, Cody was like, did you get creepy vibes? And MK was like, yeah. So Cody walks her to her exams, letting her know that he would have food and coffee waiting when she got out. Kissed her, went goodbye.
So after the week of exams, Bree and MK meet in the library, and Bree is like, bitch, we need to go out because we did this. And MK's like, well, you know what? I have a murderer and a stalker trying to get me, so I don't think that that's a good idea. I would rather watch Netflix and chill.
Yeah.
And Bree was teasing her about whose bed she would be in to do that. And she's like already thinking about it. Like, she's like, I don't know, maybe both.
Why don't we have a cuddle puddle?
Right?
Yeah.
It wouldn't be a cuddle puddle.
No.
It'd be a fuck puddle.
I was thinking it. You said it.
You were thinking it.
But you said it.
So Bree was like, please, let's do this. And MK's just like, I don't know if I want to. And so Bree's like, okay, challenge accepted. I am going to go ask Cody. So she storms down and goes up to Cody, and she's trying to put on her sexy, sultry, sweet, Cody babe, please. Yep. And Cody's like, okay. And MK's like, what the fuck? And so he's like, yeah, we have something to do tonight anyway, so we can go to Club 22. And Bree's like, what? You can get us into Club 22? And he's like, yeah.
Kitty.
And so she's like, sweet. And so there is a theme to Club 22, and they need to dress up for it.
Yep. So the club's theme is the 20s. So they got her a flapper dress and still commented that she looks incredible, calling her Hellcat. Tempting to stay home. But Cody came in and said, nice try, asshole. If anyone gets to take that dress off, I do, because I got it for her. So Steele calls MK into his room. She helps him get dressed, put on his holster, because he's hurt, but he's going with a gun.
Yeah.
No, they're not leaving unarmed at this point, which I don't think they ever did. MK thought it was bondage at first, not knowing it.
She's like, what the fuck?
And Steele was like, it's not what you think it is, but if you're into that, it could be done. Or better yet, with Archer.
Yeah. And I was like, whoa, Archer's into bondage? Okay.
Yep. So Steele said, are you telling me you want me to rip my clothes off, Hellcat? Because he's down for it. But Cody said that they were ready to go. So they leave. Cody said that, thanks for cock blocking me all week, motherfucker. Pretty much under it. And he wishes that they could stay in and rip her dress off. Mm-hmm. So this is when they go to the club.
Yes. So Archer also just looks like dripping in sex.
Oh, I love
this scene. The way that they described him all dressed up, it was so...
Panty dropper. I'm wet.
Okay. So they go to the club and... Oh, wait, no, Archer banters. He's like... She's asking when they started to carry guns and stuff like that, and Archer said that she started getting stalked and stabbed, and that keeping her alive was a full-time fucking job. Mm-hmm. And she was like, well, should I be armed too? And Archer said, no, she's fine. But then he gives her his knife. Mm-hmm. And the whole time, Archer's sneaking glances at her because she's sitting in the passenger seat next to him.
Yeah, I'm like, he's driving.
Yeah. And so he's like sneaking glances at her thighs. And so he gives her his butterfly knife, and he's like, it matches your dress here. And so she puts the knife up her dress. She like pulls it up to loop it around her stocking, and all of a sudden Archer gasps and the car swerves, and Cody's like, what the fuck was that? Is this your first time driving? And he's like, sorry, I thought I hit a squirrel. And MK's like,
you were staring and fantasizing, boy, like, yeah.
Eyes on the road, Arch.
Oh my god, I love that scene.
I know.
So they get there. Boys are allowed in without any issues.
Mm-hmm. Of course.
Dallas came to her, grabbing her, giving her a hug, but Steele's like, fuck you, dude. Grabs her, moves her closer, and that he's surprised to see him there. But Dallas mentions that this is a Hades club and that it's neutral ground. They cannot fight on Hades grounds.
Nope.
Yeah.
There will be hell to pay.
Oh, yeah. Which, Hades, I love them both, but like, once you get to know Hades, you're like, God, no. Yeah.
Such a good series. Okay. So Dallas tries to tell MK that he was worried about her and that he would love to talk to her alone, and the boys are like, that's cute. But he tries to let it go, and he goes to find Bree. He's like, I don't trust her decision making in alcohol beverage purchases, so let's go find her.
Yeah.
But Steele and her kind of hang back for a minute, and she knows that they have all kind of secrets, but her patience is starting to run out. And Steele knows that it's on his and Cody's mind more than she knows. Mm-hmm. And so he ignores questions about Archer and still kisses her, and they have fun. So they start dancing and drinking, and MK's like, you know what? I want to get the fuck out of here. And so she goes up to Archer and Cody, and she's like, can we go? And she asks Archer if he had got what he needed to get done, because he was meeting somebody there who might potentially know who the stalker is. Mm-hmm. Is that what it was?
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, it's a dead end. And so they're like, okay, let's go. And she's like, I just have to tell... Sorry, my dog's barking.
It's okay if you hear Winky in the background. It's fine.
So she's like looking for Bree, and Dallas tell him that they're leaving, but they're fucking making out in the corner. And she's like, oh shit, maybe that's why Bree's been being so weird lately, because she was scared to tell me.
Yeah.
So she's like, okay, whatever. So she just gives them like the look like, hey, we're leaving. And so they go out to the car, right?
Yeah.
Oh, and then...
Yeah. Archer
picks her up and moves her out of his way. And he says, if you are done dry fucking Cody, he'd like to go home. So MK retorts that all bets and clothes were off tonight when they get home, and that she will be loud tonight, so when he fucks his hand, that he will know he fucked up. And so Steele grabs her, taking her out of the club, and he told her that if they keep doing this shit, it will all blow up soon. So they get in the car and head home. Cody asked what was in her pocket, and she's like, what are you talking about? And so he pulls out a piece of paper, and it said, I know something you don't know, but do you want to know too? Yeah. I fucked that up so bad. Let me try again. I know something you don't know, but do you want to know too? I can tell you everything. I know more than they do. And she's like, oh, fuck, my stalker put that in my goddamn pocket at the club.
Yes, so who the fuck is this?
Yeah.
Obviously, they've seen him. So the stalker kind of put a little bit of a damper on the night. When they got home, Archer called Cody asking for 5 minutes. And as Cody went to Archer's room, still asked MK for help, taking his t-shirt off. Mind you, Cody was pissed because Archer's cock blocking him at this point. Well, Steele starts having fun with MK. He starts eating her out. They fucking go at it. And Cody walks in asking if he can join the party.
He's like, you motherfucker.
Yeah. And so, of course, they allow him to join the party.
Oh, my gosh.
Cody asks if MK has ever had a threesome before. And just so he knows what they're dealing with, MK bantered that she's good at studying and still asks if she's ever done anal before. And she's like, once or twice. And they both were just like, the
shocked.
Fuck? They both fucking high-five, dude. They high-five like 2-year-olds.
Oh, I love it. They high-fived multiple times in this.
It, yes.
Oh, my gosh.
MK said that this is a bad idea and leave now. But they're like, no. Cody said we're doing it. They're going for it. So they have a threesome, and it is hot. Like,
yes.
One touch to the hiney.
Ow.
When they got done, Cody teased that he better double check the sugar and salt or his shampoo, and they all fell asleep together.
That's so cute.
Yes.
So the next morning, MK thought that people in RHs were definitely onto something. Cody's phone alarm went off because he had an early morning session, and Cody was like, still get up. And he's like, why do I have to go with you? And he tells him that it's because it's the...
The blind
client. Thank you.
Yeah. I don't know if was she blind? No.
No, she had dementia.
Dementia.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Steele had gone one time because they had like a photo shoot before or after or something like that, and she thought that Steele was her dead husband, and so now every time he goes, he brings Steele so that she has like that comfort.
Yeah.
And so Steele has to go, but she can handle Archer on her own, and she told him that
it's their turn to take over the pranks on him.
Oh, yes, because MK was like, you can't do it as good as me because I put steroids in his protein powder. And they're like, yeah, we're not gonna go that crazy. But she thinks that Archer doesn't want to fuck her, and it just hurts his ego. And Cody teased, and the sky isn't blue. So as she's getting her coffee ready, she hears a loud roar and 3 slats of paint on his t-shirt that would put Medusa to shame. Archer thinks it was MK that pulled the prank, and she says that it wasn't her, and he's an arrogant son of a bitch, and he needs to learn some humiliation.
Yep.
And Archer being funny that there were magical fairies that did it, but MK says nope, it was a booby trap, and he should think of he pissed anybody else off lately. So he understood that he had pissed off his friends already, so he gets closer to MK, telling her to stop pushing him, and that he's been lenient towards her, but she's pushing him. So she told him to do his worst. During their argument, the doorbell rang, and it's Jace. He's a fucking asshole. So he strolls into the kitchen. MK says hi, but he's a complete and total douche. He's already showing animosity. He formed his opinion of her before even meeting her, and told her that she was the reason that Archer lost his first UFC fight, which, I mean, it was. MK said that maybe he lost because he wasn't as good as he thought he was, or maybe because his manager pushed him to do something that he wasn't ready for. And he gets pissed off and tells him that she's a little whore, and Archer gets fucking pissed off and is like, you don't get to talk to her like that. He's like, it's not the smartest thing to insult MK in her own home. And Cody and Steele were hinting that hitting that they were fucking her. That's what that means.
Yeah.
So be careful if you wanted to keep his job, no matter how accurate the names are, which was kind of fucked up of Archer to say. But so MK said whores get paid to fuck, and no amount of money on earth would get her to fuck Archer, and that his hands must be feeling used and abused lately, and that he should chuck himself a couple of bucks for how much he yanked listening to them last night.
I love it. I'm like, how are you so quick-witted that you can just jump into this?
I love it.
So MK takes a nap, woke up talking with Bree and Dallas and how long that had been going on. She walks downstairs hoping that Jace, the epic douche canoe, was gone, and Steele and Cody were down there, all 4 of them playing video games, Jace glaring at her, and Steele had her sit on his lap. Steele caught on, and MK thought Jace was a cunt wanker. I loved it. Cody filled her in that Jace booked them a photo shoot and that he doesn't have any plans, so she can go. She asked where the shoot was, but Jace answered with a gruff, stating that it was a close set, no groupies,
Ugh.
fucker,
Fuck off.
and that she could entertain herself for a day. Archer wins the race because they're playing the video games, and told Jace she comes or they cancel their shoot. He said, fine, if you want to disobey the shoot rules, that's on him, and commented that Archer has got a hard-on for her too, and that it's been forever that he had a slut up for a gangbang. Archer shot up, grabbed Jace by his shirt, Cody following close by, and told him to get the fuck out and stored out his attitude or not to come at all. I was like, oh!
Yes,
You got
stick up her, stick up her.
Yep. And Cody said, if you talk about our girl or any girl like that, they will return him where they found him, a con artist. And they came back, kissed. Cody kissed MK, just saying he's a douche. Like, fuck off.
Yeah,
Like,
just
don't
ignore him.
Yeah. So
Archer was training with Cody, and Cody told Steele that he should be training MK. So the next day, after they trained and everything, the next day they drove out to the studio for the photo shoot. They're doing a nude photo shoot. So Jace walks in saying good morning to the boys, and Cody asks if he had anything to say to MK. So he apologized to her for the rude comments, and he was out of line. So the boys go to get changed, and Jace made a comment to MK that the boys are just using her up and will toss her aside. Said that he's seen them do this dozens of times and that she's no different than all the used up sluts they've left in their dust. And I'm like, what a fucking cunt. So MK told him to be careful, and he's starting to sound jealous. Maybe that's a bit of sexual frustration, and that the boys would be way out of his league even if they did swing that way as Archer came out. So Steele went first, and when he was on the couch, Jace yelled what the fuck because his arm was all scratched up, and Steele said, don't blame it on me, it was Archer's fault. Nikki got Steele's shot and called Cody, so Cody pulled a bottle of baby oil out and asked MK to lather him up. Nikki gave her a look. Luna, one of the girls on the set, was going outside for a cigarette and asked MK to come outside with her. As they were outside, Luna told MK sorry that she didn't mean to cause drama, and the way they stare at her, she admits that she did ask her outside for an ulterior motive. She took outside her cell phone, handing it to MK, stating that he wants to talk with her. So on the phone, it's Zane telling her that she is a hard girl to get a hold of, and he told her that he would dig into things, and then proceeded to tell her that he owed it to Deb to dig, and that he found some inconsistencies and then hit a dead end. MK asked what that meant, and Zane explained that someone did a hell of a lot to hide her family line, and that whatever it is hiding is good enough to kill MK, asking if she knows anything about her grandparents, and he's explaining everything that had been tampered with and that it has been made to make Deb look like an orphan. MK asked why anyone would do that, and Zane is explaining money. MK explained that she met her grandmother once when she was 5 or 6, and she couldn't remember her name. She could only remember that little things here and there. All of a sudden, the phone was taken out of her hands, and Steele was right behind her, and he told Zane that he broke the rules, and he told him told him to look forward to Archer's call later. Steele looked at MK with a death glare and told her to get inside a little rudely, and telling her that he needs a word with Luna. So barely in the studio, Archer grabbed MK, demanding who she was on the phone with. His tone made MK want to punch him in the face for being a dick. He grabbed MK by her jacket, which she slipped out of, so then he grabbed her by her shoulder and she ripped out of his grip. She slapped him and told him to stop manhandling her, and that he doesn't own her, and to bring it on. Cody stepped in and told him to stop it and let it go. So MK told Archer, yeah, let it go, like a good dog. He walked towards MK, and she fell back on the couch as he lifted his hands, and MK flinched, thinking he was going to hit her, which, I'm sorry, he would never hit her.
No.
He stopped and asked if she thought he was going to hit her, and he brushed his fingers across his cheeks, and his body was pushed up against her. He asked, do you want me to tell you a secret, Kate? She barely exhaled a yes, and Archer moved, bringing his lips an inch from hers, telling her that he doesn't hurt women unless they beg him to do it, which, okay, I'm sorry, what?
Yeah. And as he's doing this, he's gripping her hair, yanking her hair back, exposing her neck, and he bit her.
Yes.
And this all happened, and MK said it took all she had not to yank his tiny underpants off.
His tiny underpants.
Telling Archer that she'll never ask. He said begging is only verbal, that their body shows more. Like her body is telling her more. Putting on his robe, with his thick erection, he went outside to go talk with Steele. Cody was staring, Nikki was smiling, and Jace was glaring, and Luna was gone.
Yep. So it was like hot and heavy. Everyone was like, whoa, sexual tension for days.
They could feel the crackles. So a week after the photo shoot, Nikki started releasing them. And they included Archer and MK's little session on the couch. A day after the photos came out, MK got a Barbie, and it was attached to the gate with zip ties. It was the same outfit she was wearing, and her stalker wrote across the forehead, "whore."
Ugh.
So as Christmas approached, it reminded her that her dad was never home for the holidays, so she was getting hurt a little bit.
Yeah.
And in the past week, Cody and Steele started pranking Archer. Ice water buckets above the doorways, laxatives in his coffee. And Cody was busy training Archer, so Steele took over more of MK's trainings at this point, which made her more confident. So on the night of Archer's fight, Cody kept trying to put his hand up her skirt, and Archer's getting pissed. Can you two fucking quit it? Cody came back telling Archer not to be a hater because he had the bluest set of balls in the history in the world, and asking when he had his fingers when was the last time he had his fingers knuckle deep in a pussy? MK finally slapped Cody's hand away, just telling him knock it off. So they go in, and they're by the big octagon. And Archer's distracted by MK at this point because Steele's with her, talking to her, and he is just so fixated on her. And Steele asked if MK could go have a talk with Archer to get his head on straight, maybe piss him off so he can win this fight.
Yeah.
So she agreed and told Cody, give him a minute. MK, let's see. MK told him that she was going to make it quick and called him out that him and Cody were having fighter-trainer issues because it was driving him completely insane that he was doing unspeakable things to her and rubbing it in his face. I love it. That he is jealous as fuck and it's consuming him. So she told him that if he loses the fight, she's going to force him to watch her suck Cody's dick at the after party. And Archer asked how she was going to force him to do anything, and she said she has her ways. Want to test some, sunshine? And he said if he wins, she shrugged and said, find out. She teases him that she better go touch up her lipstick because it's going to be smeared around the base of Cody's dick. MK confused Cody and Steele as she's walking away with this big ass fight, and the fight starts, and Archer just comes out whooping ass.
Fucking beast.
And Steele goes, what the fuck did you say to him? And she was like, nothing. And in the third round, the other guy took control, which, hello, Archer, come on. So Archer looked at MK, she licked her lips, and all of a sudden his opponent's tapping out, so Archer won.
So after the fight, they were at a bar for the after party with Archer doing interviews, and Archer finally came out as MK and Steele were waiting for the boys, and they were all smiling. Cody got in the back seat, and Archer went to MK smiling. She told him congratulations, and she tried to slide off the car, but as she got off the car, he stopped her, putting his hands on her thighs, and he bent down to her ear. I won. Now what do I get, Kate? And she came back and said, how about a sensation of achievement you're currently riding like a high? Nothing like showing the haters that he's the best. Archer laughed and brushed his lips against hers and said, try again, Kate. I believe there was dick sucking mentioned earlier. Keep on that trail of thought, Kate. And I'm like, okay.
It's coming. It's coming.
They went to an after party expecting Bree and Dallas to be there, but Cody told MK to stick with one of the boys tonight because the cops won't do shit. She also told Cody congratulations on his training, and they realized that Bark was there at the party, the quarterback, that tried to take MK on a date, and his dad, the professor, Barker as well, the creepy ass. There was police surrounding, and they found Bree and Dallas, who were in the middle of an argument. Dallas shot out of his seat, explaining that he's been trying to get in touch with her but couldn't get through to her, and so she looked at Steele, but he avoided her looks. Bree said that she needs a drink and told Dallas to tell her who he invited tonight since he thought it was a good idea. MK looked at Dallas and said that...
You're good.
Where am I? Oh, right there. MK looked at Dallas, and she let her know that he didn't invite him and that it wasn't a big deal, that the venue was just bought by Hades and that it's a neutral ground, letting out that Ferryman wanted to come and congratulate his nephew. Dallas defended himself and that he couldn't exactly tell him not to go, so Steele grabbed MK and said that they need to tell Archer and Cody. The boys were no longer there, as Steele said that this is bad. MK asked him to explain. Ferryman is the leader of the Wraiths, and he explained that Ferryman is a vindictive fuck who holds a grudge against Archer, as he was the sole heir to Philip's estate and money. Constance didn't even get anything, nor did Damien, Ferryman, or Zane. As they found the boys, Drew was next to Cody, which everyone remembers Drew from smacking MK at Nadia's cakes.
Yeah.
Steele told her to get the fuck out of there, saying, or else what, because it's a neutral ground, like she's allowed to be there. He told her that he wasn't going to talk about gang rules and that she was touching MK's man, and if she doesn't quit it, then she would break her fingers in 6 places. So MK grabbed her hands off of Cody's legs, dragging her to the ground, telling her to get the fuck out of there and that she's a pathetic bitch. Drew got up and spat in MK's face and stormed away. Someone handed her a handkerchief, and it was Ferryman. Mm-hmm. He smiled at her, and he looked like an older version of Archer and Zane. He told MK that he's heard so much about her.
Yeah, so then Archer steps in and is like, what the fuck are you doing here? Mm-hmm. And tugged MK away from him, like kind of guarding her at this point. And Ferryman came back. I couldn't miss the opportunity to congratulate you on your big win, fucker. So Archer's calling him on his bullshit, and he looked at all 3 boys and MK and said, what an interesting bunch you 4 are, and then told Archer that he wanted to speak with him on a business matter, get a drink, talk in private. Archer told him that this wasn't the place and that they're having conversation. Zane decides to show up.
It's a family reunion.
And that's what and with Archer saying that he must have missed the memo on a family reunion. So Archer continued and asked what business discussion was this all about, and the boys were showing each other their guns. Like, they're macho. Come on. MK murmured that they should take this elsewhere, and Archer heard her nodding, and him and Steele left. So they all go into a private room, leaving Cody out with them. Mm-hmm. Cody did remind them that this is Hades grounds. If you start a gang war on Hades turf,
you're fucked.
Run. Like, we don't know who Hades is at this point. And so Cody let out his breath and held MK tighter, and she should be pissed off not knowing what's going on, but she's happy she didn't, because this might end in a bloodbath. And he said he hoped it didn't, because they didn't bring enough ammo for a gang war.
Yeah.
So they went and found... MK told him that they should go check on them, but he said no, that Zane only brought Daddy Cass, with him, and still was worth at least 6 dudes. So she tried to talk him into it, but he wouldn't leave her. And she asked what Ferryman is doing behind it, and he told her to stop trying to get into this to happen, because Steele and Archer trusted him to keep MK safe. Mm-hmm. So he's not going in. They grab their drinks, find Bree and Dallas, and Bree's straddling Dallas, eating his face off.
So obviously they're not fighting anymore.
Yeah. So Dallas tries to apologize for Ferryman being there. Cody said it's fine. It wouldn't be so bad if Zane wasn't there too.
Yeah.
And Bree said, well, that sounds like a bad time. Let's just hope my bestie doesn't end up locked in a cell again. Dallas growls in frustration, and all of a sudden there's a man walking that's playing pool, and he's a Reaper. Mm-hmm. And he's like, what the fuck? Because Cody's sitting with them. And Cody said he'll sit with whoever the hell he wants to, because
they're on neutral ground. Yeah.
So he asked if they want to play pool, because he kind of calmed down after realizing like Cody wasn't fucking around. They go play pool. MK goes over by them, and Cody went into MK's ear asking if she's going to be okay with Drew around. And she said, and he's like, if not, I'll throw her ass out. And Kay's like, I'll be fine. But she needed to keep her dirty ass paws off Cody. And if she spits in her face again, she's going to punch her hard that her implants pop. I laughed. I was like, get her. Yeah.
So MK and Bree are watching. Bree came around to tell MK that they got off on the wrong foot and that they should just start over. Bree laughed, and MK noticed that Jace had just showed up as well, and he's going over to them as he missed the fight. Drew offered to get them drinks, saying that it's the least she could do after earlier. Bree slurred, she seems like a fucking bitch. So Cody said that he will be right over there, dragging Jace away, telling Dallas to watch MK and that he will be right there. MK stepped up to Cody's shot as some of the men were checking her out and making Dallas to knock
making Dallas tell the guys to knock it off.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cody doesn't see them checking out his girl, so MK took the shot as Drew came back with drinks and handed her one, saying that there's no way she's making that shot, which MK made it. And so Drew bet that she couldn't do it again, and Bree started laughing. Bree said that if she makes it, then she will need to down the whole drink in one go, and Drew came back and said that if she misses it, she will need to do the same, but not with her soda water, with alcohol. So MK took the next shot and she missed it, but because she missed it, there was a loud bang happening, and so it like made her jump. So she shouted at Cody, who ran back to her, but he shoved him to the room, telling him that she's fine with Dallas and Bree and with Jace. And so he said that you need to go get the guys now. Like, go fucking help them.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Drew was standing there and she's like, you missed the shot, so you need to take the drink. And MK's like, bro, if there's fucking shit going on. And she's like, whatever. She's like, she had a feeling that she spit in the drink, but she fucking downs it.
She grabbed Drew's drink.
Oh, that's right.
Because Drew was trying to hand her one, but she grabbed Drew's instead.
Because she thought that she had spit in her drink, so she's like, I'm gonna drink yours. So Drew scowled and threw the drink on the ground, and she was getting in MK's face, telling her to watch her fucking back and that she's coming for MK, and then she stomped away.
Yep. So Cody hadn't returned, and MK's getting nervous, and Jace is telling her to chill out, just drink, it's fine, whatever. MK grabbed him, pulled him face to face, telling him to not fucking insult her anymore. MK told Dallas that something was wrong, but Dallas reassured her it's only been 2 minutes, like, just chill. They reminisced on how they lost their virginity to each other, and that he remembers it and he thinks about it all the time. The room started to spin, and Bree showed up and was like pissed off because she heard them talking, and she's jealous because they have their history, but MK doesn't want that.
Yeah.
And MK yelled at Dallas, asking what the hell was wrong with him, because Bree heard him say that he thinks about it all the time, which insinuated that he wants MK still. So he's like, that's not what I meant. I wasn't hitting on you. And Bree thinks, and MK went to follow her, but Dallas stopped her, said, no, he'll go. So they're both gone. Jace is gone. And MK's stomach is starting to turn. She's sweating. She realized something's wrong. She realized that she had been drugged and she needed to get to Bree and Dallas. And halfway to the bathroom, her ankle twists in her heels. She's caught by strong arms, and it's Bark. He thought that she had one too many. MK said that she's fine, she just needed water. The venue is spinning, and finally she heads outside needing to puke, and her legs stopped working, falling to the ground. Her face hits the asphalt, dude. Like, she cannot do anything. She couldn't move. Her vision goes dark. Her lungs aren't working. Rough hands grab her, manhandle her, smacking her a few times, and then she feels a sharp pain in her nose. I don't know why I said it that way, but okay. The person throws her over, probably her shoulder. They throw her over her shoulder, and her vision's kind of coming. She sees tires, popping sounds. The guy stops walking, and as this happens, she can hear voices, but it sounds like she's underwater. And her body is in so much pain, all of a sudden she's falling like Alice in Wonderland. When she hits the bottom with a hard thud, she was alone in the dark, and she thought it was the end.
So MK is thinking how she never thought of death before. No light at the end of the tunnel. She tried to move, but her body just spasmed. And when she tried to move, she felt like she needed to throw up. So she didn't know where she was, but she was alive. Stretching out her hand, she felt nothing at first, and then felt around, realizing that she was trapped in someone's trunk. She has claustrophobia. So tight spaces like that freak her out. So she's crying out for help, feeling her tears go down her face, and MK's thinking about what was going to happen and what the person's plan was. So she's looking for a release in the trunk, trying to get her panic to go away. MK starts calling out, but her voice is weak. No one would be able to find her until it was too late, and she was a dead corpse. So feeling something tickle her bare legs, it was black, but now she could see her legs, seeing all the spiders all over her legs. She screamed and screamed as the spiders kept going all over her, and then the spiders started biting her. She started seeing light, but another sound came, and she felt the heat against her body. Begging it to stop and to get them off of her, someone said, she can't hear you, and she got a sharp pain in her arm as she recognized that someone had found her. So huge hands kept stroking. Okay.
Yeah.
Stroking her face and pulling her hair away. The low murmurs in her ear were calming her down. The voice was not who dumped her in the car, and she also heard, we need to get her to the hospital. She was hearing, come on, baby girl, don't do this. And the voice was so close, but it was like it was in her head telling her, nope. Telling her, come on, Kate, baby, we got you. She was trembling, but then weightless. So she opened her eyes, and it looked into eyes and screamed, seeing a decaying clowns. The vision went away and she realized who it was. It was someone she trusted, even with all the secrets. So she grabbed him and didn't let go, and he kept whispering, Kate, I've got you, you're safe, I'm never letting you go. And MK realized that she wasn't okay, and someone touched her, which made her start crying. Steele crouched down and said, hey, gorgeous, we need to get her to the hospital and get her checked out. She was having hallucinations, but she shook her head and she understood. He asked if we could get Archer to get her into the ambulance, and she said no. And he told her, well, baby girl, calm down. No one's going to force you to do anything. She could hear Cody and still agree, but they weren't going to force her. But could Archer carry her to get her to the hospital? And she knew that she needed the help. And the next thing she knew, her and Archer were in the back of the ambulance, and MK would not let anyone touch her but Archer. So the paramedics had to talk Archer through getting her vitals, and once they got to the hospital, everything went black.
It was so cute but so sad.
I know.
Like, I was panicking reading this.
Mm-hmm.
So when she woke up again, she was in the hospital with an IV, an oxygen mask, and all 3 boys around her. She's asking what happened. Steele asked how she was feeling, and that she gave him quite the scare. She's like, I feel like roadkill right now. Asking again what happened. Still tried to avoid it, but Cody said no. Tell her everything. Mm-hmm. The secrets keep biting us in the ass, and they're not going to know anything, and then we'll get the doctor, because she wanted to know. And Archer nodded. So Steele explained that they don't know exactly what happened, but her toxicology report showed fentanyl in her system and that she had an overdose. Asking, wasn't that lethal? Cody answered yes, especially in large doses, mm-hmm. which she got a large dose.
Yeah.
MK asked why she wasn't dead, and the 3 boys exchanged a look, and Steele said they think someone gave her a dose of Narcan before they put her in the trunk of his car. If not, she would have been dead. Mm-hmm. MK ran through it, and nothing was making sense. Why was she drugged in the first place? She explained that it wasn't her drink, that it was Drew's. Steele explained that made more sense, that it was meant to kill her, and so that's why they gave her Narcan, because mm-hmm. it was meant for Drew, not her. Cody then let MK know that Drew was murdered. Her throat was slit and her body left behind the dumpsters, and Steele finally decided to let the doctor in.
I've got like chills because mm-hmm. it's not nice to murder people, but fuck that bitch.
Right. I agreed. And later, because we find out more about this situation. Archer finally spoke and asked if they could give him a second and get him some coffee, because Cody's still out. Cody still is out of the room, and Cody was like, God, I guess it'll take forever, but okay. And he's like, if he pisses you off, just push your nurse's button. So Archer stared off as Cody went gone, and MK fell asleep until someone touched her hand, lacing their fingers together. And he moved the chair closer, and it was Archer still, like, oh.
It was so
And she said, hey, but he told her sorry for waking her up, but she tightened her hand because she didn't want to let him go. And she's like, it's okay.
So cute.
Yeah, and he's like rubbing the circles on her hand, and finally she said that he saved her, and Archer said that he should have never left her alone, and maybe that it was a diversion to get her alone. But MK explained that she fucked up drinking Drew's drink as it was meant for her, and then she drifted off. She stayed in the hospital one more night until the drugs got out of her body. She left the boys. They were taking shifts with her. The police tried to come and see if she remembered anything, the person who gave her Narcan, and then to question with Drew's murder. Mm-hmm. One of the cops let it slip that Drew was found with drugs in her pocket and that it was a gang-related find. But MK had a gut feeling and knew it was right. Drew was trying to roofie MK with the drink she was offering her, and then she finally got released from the hospital, got to go home.
They finally got home, and they were stopped at the gates. Steele and Archer were staring ahead like they had seen a ghost. Archer got out and picked something up, stalker mail. He got back into the car with a large box on his lap, and they all went inside with Archer setting the box on the coffee table, and Cody asked after a few minutes if Archer was going to open it. Archer finally opened the box, which contained a replica of Steele's car, and MK said, let me guess, there's something in the trunk. Archer opened the trunk, revealing a Barbie doll. Steele said, well, at least we know who was responsible for Drew's death. Pictures of Drew and MK talking, Drew talking with the race, another with Drew putting a drug in the drink, and the last 2 photos were of MK totally out of it, curled up in Steele's trunk, and the other of Drew dead in the pool of blood. Mm-hmm. There was a small digital recorder, and Steele pushed play. It was Drew's voice and a guy detailing her plan what to do with Cody or MK after the roofies. After she got her separated from Dallas and Cody, on the back of the picture of MK it said, be more careful. MK commented that this is too much right now, and Steele got it all up, telling them They should get it to the police anyways. And Archer told Cody to get Princess Danvers upstairs while he did another security sweep. Cody helped MK shower, even shampooing her hair, which is so cute. She almost fell asleep during all of this. MK went to bed naked with no PJs, and Cody tucked her in as a human burrito, grabbing her hairbrush and started brushing her hair while she fell asleep.
So when she woke up, she was alone and it was dark, and she shrieked getting up, but it was her own reflection. So Archer came running in the room, making sure she was okay. And she's like, I just got scared of my own reflection. Like, I'm fucking fine. And he sat on her bed, checked her pulse. She's like, it's fine. And then she tells him what happens, obviously, and he laughs. It was 2 a.m, and he explained that Cody needed to do something for him and that he would get still, but she muttered he could just lay down with her and quit being a sissy. And he asked if she wanted that, and she told him to lay down or not. To her surprise, he got in bed with her, and he was only in his boxers and a t-shirt, but MK still naked.
Bow, chicka, wow, wow.
So, getting on the side, he got comfy and asked her if she was happy. She commented, calm down, sunshine. You're just laying next to me in bed. I'm not forcefully pulling out that bad boy shit of this personality with pliers. He said, may as well be, now shut up and sleep if that's what we're doing. She tried to fall asleep, but she couldn't. She was kind of tossing around, and Archer groaned that she needed to stop wiggling her ass around, and he grabbed her with her body, freezing, and he's like, are you? And she's like, yep. But he didn't let go. He just covered her with his legs. Her ass was pressed against his crotch, and he was getting an erection. She started wiggling more, and he's like, Kate, don't start that shit. And he kissed her neck and then nipped it a little bit. He told her to behave and that she just went through a traumatic event and needs to rest. She told him she rested enough that she's okay grabbing his hip, but he just grabbed her hand and held her tight so she couldn't move. Archer told her to go to sleep, and with MK coming back, there's one way to put me to sleep for sure at this. And he commented, fucking hell, grabbed her neck, twisting her head, and kissed her. His hand was rubbing her stomach, and it kept getting lower and lower, and I think she called it her mound, which was weird, but whatever. And she's like, quit teasing me, sunshine, pushing her ass into his dick again. And he laughed a little bit, and he starts to finger her, gets her off, laughing as she was loud, so he covered her mouth, telling her too loud still would be barging and thinking something was wrong. She tried to grab Archer's dick, but he told her to stop, telling her to, he's like, I made you come, so go to sleep. And she asked what the hell his problem was, and she's like, you're gonna sit there and pretend that you aren't harder than a diamond right now. And he's like, yes, because I have something you don't have, self-control. She kicked him out of the bedroom, and she told him that she was done with his fucking games, and Archer got up and said that she was acting like a brat because he wouldn't fuck her. And MK said that he is giving her whiplash with his split personalities, and she can tell he wants her just as bad as he does, but she's made it abundantly clear. With that, Archer said she doesn't know him and that she has no idea what she's dealing with, and MK explained that maybe she doesn't need to know all the secrets because they don't involve her, with him saying they do, and he slammed her door and left. MK cried alone for a few minutes and still came into her room, getting into bed with her, holding her, and falling asleep.
So MK wakes up the next morning with Steele gone. MK got some medicine and showered. Finally, she went downstairs to find Steele and Cody. She could hear shouting voices, and she looked outside, seeing the back of Steele and some of Archer. They were arguing with someone. Going outside, she saw Cody, Steele, Archer with Zane and Cass. MK asked what was going on, and Cody had his gun out, pointing it at Zane. There was a bloody lump of meat, a heart, on their stairs.
Ugh.
MK again asked what the hell was going on, and Zane replied it was a gift from her stalker. One of Ferryman's boys was found dead, missing his heart. MK asked if it was the Wraith from the recording, and Steele nodded. MK then asked why Zane was there and how she got a feeling that he was violating the agreement. Zane said that it was... But what? Zane said that it was
violating it, but something needs to be. Some things don't need to be ignored.
And to be good, not to be talked about, especially when communications were being ignored. Archer said that it had nothing to do with Zane and to get the fuck off of his property before he makes Cass a promotion.
I love it.
I know. Cass raised his hands and said that he's fine where he is and that he's with Zane on this one, and that she deserves to know, jerking his head to MK. MK questions deserves to know what, and the boys were ignoring her. Archer ordered him to leave again, saying that it was just between him and MK. And Zane said that he would leave it if it wasn't only him knowing what was going on. Zane was the only one who would look at her, and Archer said, don't do it. MK said, tell her, with Cass saying, do it, boss, that she needs to know. So finally Zane said, sorry, brother, but next time you try to do a business deal with a man who is selling his daughter, and MK froze. Steele and Cody got upset and they started panicking. Archer was stoned, with Zane pulling out papers, throwing them at MK, explaining that her father sold her a week and her trust fund after she was arrested. And also, congratulations, Mrs. Dath. Welcome to the family. And that's the end of the book.
What the fuck, Tate?
So Archer and MK are married and she had no idea about it.
And of course, Zane had to be the one to fucking ruin it.
Right?
My heart dropped.
I know. I was like, I was
fuck?
not expecting that.
No. But you look back at the book and you're like, oh my God, there's so many hints.
He's like,
now.
I can control you and stuff like that. And it's like, well, he kind of can because they're married, you know?
Yep. She's going to pay for it all now.
Oh my gosh.
I love this series.
I know.
Who's your favorite character in this one?
I'd probably say Cody.
Yeah, I agree. I think Cody has the best banter in this one, but I'd have to say I still love Steele.
Oh yeah, he's just a sweetheart.
Smuttiest scene?
Either the kitchen island or the threesome, but the kitchen island probably.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
I'm right there with you on those two.
Yes.
Yeah. Chirp level?
5 out of 5.
Fuck yeah. Yeah. And
So good.
of course, we both say yes to recommending
Absolutely. This whole series, absolutely. Yes.
Yes. And I do want to say sorry that these episodes are so long. The banter in them is just so good that we can't like leave shit out.
I know. Like, we try so hard to just like shorten it as much as possible, but you know what? If you're still here to the end of this episode, you're the real MVP.
For reals. And I hope that we're getting you to want to read these books.
Oh,
because
yeah.
that's our goal. You know, we love talking about these books and getting the shit talked about, but it's like, just read it.
Yeah,
You'll love it.
it's
And then
so good.
you can go back and listen to us or read them before and hear us talk about it. So, alrighty. With that, we are going to be releasing our our episodes bi-weekly. So we will keep you updated for upcoming episodes on our Instagram and TikTok. So give us a follow at SmutSluts.BookPodcast. And next time we're going to be continuing this with the third one, Fake by Tate James, in the Madison Kate series.
So also, we do have a YouTube channel. If you want to watch us interact while we record our episodes, you can subscribe to our channel at SmutSluts.Book Podcast. No spacing on that. And I did want to mention really quick, we've had quite a few people reach out to us on Instagram and stuff asking what our list of books are that we're going to be reviewing. And so we just wanted to let all of our listeners know that we are going to continue with the Madison Kate series, and then we're jumping straight into Hades. So if you want to read them before we release those reviews, they're all by Tate James and they're all amazing, and you're not going to be disappointed.
Not at all. So thank you guys so much for listening.
Keep it kinky, smut sluts.
We'll see you next time.